Psychologically, how much am I leaning into Lamar coming back and playing? Yeah. If I was on the couch with a psychiatrist right now, if I was spilling it, I would have to say I'm leaning really hard into that. Really hard, yeah. For any kind of psychological well-being, spiritual well-being, I'm leaning hard on that. So I'm very hopeful that happens.
John Harbaugh made it very clear on Sunday after the game that he expects Lamar Jackson to play when they come back from the bye. He then doubled down on that yesterday. You heard what he just said. He's leaning very hard into Lamar Jackson playing against the Bears a week from Sunday. So, with that, I asked the question, can Lamar salvage the season? What can they expect with Lamar Jackson? How good can they be?
Well, hope's in short supply around here, and Lamar Jackson's a hope factory. So they're going to churn out hope. And they're going to churn out, don't sell your seats for pennies on the dollar on third market. Don't StubHub them or whatever. Get your fannies in the seats and buy some beer from us. And the return of Lamar is certainly something that will give them some buy-in, but it's what Lamar's returning to, and it's what helped this offense reach levels that were unfathomable. And I think that we'll look back on and be like, wow, that really happened. And Lamar was a huge part of it. A fully healthy Lamar behind a more than competent offensive line with a plethora, to use Giro's favorite word, of options to throw to in the pass game, all of whom were capable of winning in man, or most of them, and understanding where to get to in zone. They were hitting notes that maybe nobody's ever hit before. But and he's the conductor of the orchestra. But since he's gone down, the percussion section is wiped out. And if you don't have that backbone, you've got nothing, right? That's boom. And Lele and Voorhees are on the football field a lot. They're not starting for playoff teams. They're not. They're broken goal to go. Is his presence going to help that? Sure. But 11 carries for 8 yards and minus 0.55 yards before contact when you're in goal to go situations, that's not going to play. A sort of dissatisfied, unhappy Bateman who's running routes to nowhere. Andrews in a contract year when he should have already been out of your building, still making some sort of fundamental mistakes and not really finding his way. Likely, I don't know that he's healthy. He doesn't look healthy to me. He hasn't looked like the same guy to me. That's what Lamar's coming back to. And a bottom three defense in this league, which is saying something because there's some god-awful defenses. Mm-hmm. So,
and zero pass rush.
Can he make them watchable? Can he conjure some degree of hope? Absolutely. Do I think that will prove to be false hope? Absolutely. In terms of the greater macro level expectations of their season.
Yeah, there's just a lot wrong with this football team right now. And you can hang your hat on the fact that when Lamar Jackson starts at quarterback for this team, that they win a hell of a lot more than they lose. 71-27 record in the regular season. But if you just look at his numbers from this year alone, and they're strong. 71.6% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns to 1 interception, 9.1 yards per attempt. And despite all of that, they were still 1-3 with him as starting quarterback. And obviously that's not all of his fault. You put up 40 points on the road week 1 against the Bills, and it still wasn't good enough. And you score 30 points against the Lions, and it still wasn't good enough. So Lamar can do everything that he can do, but he's only 1 of 11 or 1 of 22 when you include the defensive side of the football. Now, what goes in their favor is the schedule does lighten up in the second half. But Lamar coming back isn't going to give them a stud pass rusher. Lamar coming back isn't going to give you the 1990s Dallas Cowboys offensive line. He's a damn good quarterback, and he's going to elevate this offense as much as he can. But there's a lot.
When he was healthier than he will be coming back from this, the rest of this stuff still undermined him to the point where he wasn't able to be Herculean.
No, to Bones' point, though, they'll be playing lesser opponents who can still beat them. The ceiling for me is he does what Joe Burrow did a year ago, which is with a bad defense, and let's face it, they've never had a good offensive line in Cincinnati. He had them in playoff contention in December. I think that's the ceiling for this team, that they don't get eliminated until the end of the season. I do not see them going on a Super Bowl run.
Well, I mean, look, I think part of that is also just the way they've expanded the playoffs and the fact that we're just talking about Buffalo. All these teams are watered down.
That is the reality.
So it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be hard to be mathematically eliminated before December. Like, they keep making the season longer and they keep more teams hanging around.
Oh, but if they keep losing, they can be mathematically eliminated.
1-5.
Well, like
1-5 becomes 1-8.
If they lose to Chicago, I think they're going to lose to Chicago, and they're 1-6. For me, that's it. Game, set, match. Now, they're not going to be mathematically eliminated.
Sure.
Then.
No.
And if they beat Miami, and they should, and they beat Cleveland,
But that's sort of what Cincinnati did a year ago, is they lost a couple more games and that they weren't expected to, and then all of a sudden, I think when they win 5 in a row down the stretch, and they were still mathematically alive in Week 18.
But I think the other factor that could kind of push towards the mathematically eliminated is if they did lose to the Bears game and Eric DeCosta sells at that point and further depletes.
Well, yeah. But again, they're so bad now. Who's to say that whatever else is brought up is... I mean, what are they getting out of Mark Andrews? You know what I mean? Who's to say that Charlie Kohler, over a 6-game span, couldn't give them what Mark Andrews has given them the first 6 games of this year?
By the way, Mark Andrews has at times been a double agent for this team this season, not just in Buffalo.
So, like, exactly. So, like, I don't know that like Kyle Van Noy is their best pass rusher, but I mean, Kyle Van Noy might be cooked.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he
and
wasn't
Kyle Van
blocked.
Noy on a bad team on this contract is probably not a great vibe.
We will come back, get the text of the day, preview tomorrow's show, and get you ready for Infinity Sports Radio starting at 6 here on The Fan.